Welcome to the Backpack Bushers podcast, brought to you by the undisputed champion of ultralight quilts, Enlighten Equipment. Lighten your load at enlightenequipment.com. With me today is the defender of Cottage Brands, the voice of David who will defeat Goliath, Rob Pelton. How's it going today, my friend?
It's going very well. You can see I'm in paradise right now. This isn't a green screen behind me. I'm actually in the mountains of Utah right now, not unlike a place that Goliath could be walking around here somewhere. Who knows?
I love the connection. Yeah. So for those who are just listening, like he's just got the epic backdrop behind him, and I'm a little jealous, I'll be honest. Looks like you got some good weather too.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'll take it. Back home in Minnesota, it's starting to snow, starting to freeze. Here it's 70, 40 at night. Yeah, life is good right now.
Utah's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to get a Pelton update here. Besides you being in Utah, are you still like rolling around the country as a nomad, or what's going on here?
Yes, I'm still continuing my work with the Leave No Trace organization, traveling across the country and trying to spread awareness and have the education available to as many people as possible, so people can get outside and have fun in these natural spaces, but also having the know-how to take care of them at the same time. That is the core of what I do, because these outdoor spaces are for everyone, but I also don't want everyone to mess them up as well.
Which is nice of you, but I thought it was like a year gig, so
It
you
was.
must be crushing it, or something happened that changed, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, last year was our first year on the road and went really well. A lot of learning. They asked us back for this year. We said yes.
Okay.
And then it looks like for 2026, we're going to return for a third tour, which is
Wow.
amazing. Because,
Wait a second. Wait, are you like, I don't know how shrewd of a businessman you are, but are you negotiating terms each year? You're like, well, you want us back? Here's the number.
yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of that. I mean, I'm more like, I want time off more than anything. Money will come and go, but time always goes. So if
Right.
I can get time off and go somewhere, I'm going to try to argue for that more than anything.
Okay.
But I make enough money to live. I make enough money to stash things away, and then of course I have my side hustles as well. Right, I have my YouTubes and things
Right.
like that. So it all helps. Right, a lot of
Okay.
little buckets out there.
Right. All right. What kind of things are you stashing away? You says like you didn't say stash money away. Like, do you have like treasure?
Yeah, you like doomsday bunkers. I got to stash the MREs and the bullets and band-aids and beans. Those the
Okay.
normal things.
There's a guy, and I think we're having our podcast here in a few weeks, that literally does bury treasure, and then he wrote a book with like, guidelines to how to find the treasure. He has like 5 different treasure boxes worth $2 million. And so we're gonna have him on the show and ask about that. But he's literally stashing things away.
Yeah, well, since I travel the country, I would love to read that because I could stumble upon this kind of stuff. I'm down.
Like he said he didn't like physically bury it, so you might stumble upon it. All right, maybe I'll send you that book. Maybe he'll give me a free copy. I don't know. We'll see. But okay. So Rob put out a really good video about why buying from Cottage Brands is a win-win. I think that was in your title. He had a bunch of like cheerleader comments for the Cottage Brands. He did a really good job repping them. And so this episode, I'm going to challenge some of those thoughts. I agree with a lot of what you said, but there's some things that I just want to point out. And so that's kind of what this episode's about. But before we get into it, like, what's your definition of a cottage brand?
Well, that's the one thing I did want to bring up. At what point does a cottage brand become not a cottage brand, right? Right. I mean, a lot of these companies, the mainstream companies that we see out there, I mean, it could be in any industry. A lot of these things probably started small scale, small time, right? Even Apple started in a garage, right? But I think, innovation that starts, in someone's home office, and then that manufacturing still stays within that. Um, is probably considered a cottage vendor. Once you get, I think, a big contract and maybe your stuff is available at REI, maybe then you're not a cottage vendor. Or I don't know if it has to do with sales numbers. I don't know, but I do know that there are some cottage vendors that I have been to their shop, I have been to their homes and actually saw the production firsthand. And those are cottage. I haven't been to a manufacturing floor overseas somewhere. That would probably not be a cottage vendor. So yeah, it's a moving target.
It is a moving target, and a lot of times American made gets associated with cottage brands, but I think there's still some small brands that outsource beyond America. So I don't know that that's going to be like a blanket statement. And yeah, and as you mentioned Apple. I think of Osprey too, because Osprey was cottage forever. It took
Right.
a long time for them to get traction, then suddenly things started skyrocketing for them. But I wouldn't consider them currently a cottage brand, like not even close.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I actually just did a workshop at their headquarters in Cortez, Colorado.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of stuff here, a lot of repair work here, which is awesome. But I
Yep.
know a lot of their main manufacturing is done overseas. So at this point, I would not consider Osprey Cottage. Still good quality products, but not
Right.
cottage in my opinion.
Wait, how did you get to do like I want to do a workshop there? How does that work?
You just got to be really important,
Oh, okay.
and you
I'm
got to
out.
sound like you know what you're talking about. You're almost there, but more importantly, it's through the work that I do and the partnerships that we form because
Yeah.
the organization I work for, uh, Osprey is actually a supporter of ours.
Oh,
And I,
okay. So
yeah,
you got some networking connections.
yeah.
Yeah, I think your description still disqualified me, but all right, what is your okay, at this point, I know it's kind of hard for some folks to narrow this down, but what's your number one favorite cottage brand so we know what your bias or your viewpoint is?
Well, the video kind of showed the top ones mainly because they're products that I use, but they're also the places that I have visited personally, right?
Okay.
Hilltop Packs
Right?
and Apex Giant, based out of Pennsylvania. Ben, the owner there, always his mind is on like so many things to kind of help step forward and get people more things to make backpacking easier.
Right.
I talk a lot to Chad and Brittany over at UGQ,
Okay.
right? They're top quilts.
Yeah.
I love their top quilts. I've seen their operation, and they make really good stuff, and we use their stuff every single day. And
Yeah.
then on the hammock side of it, Superior Gear, the hammock manufacturer out of Minnesota. I know Danny personally. Been to a shop, seen him
Okay.
blow down into the baffles of his built-in underquilt. So those are the three that come to mind.
Sir.
I know them personally, and I have set foot in their shop.
Okay. All right, and I'll tell you my biases. So it's obviously like companies that we're partnered with. So we don't have a monetary partnership with Enlightened Equipment. It's more of just like a mutual respect for one another that we're partnered with. But I still love their stuff. So so I'm biased towards them. And then a new partner we have with Magnet Designs that makes some performance clothing and some other things that I'll be talking about later. Yeah, definitely biased towards his stuff. And he's literally like one guy making all of the gear. So that's like definition of cottage right there. So
He's filling a niche, right? He
yeah,
found a gap and he's trying to fill it, right? And to make
yeah,
the outdoor experience better. So kudos to those companies. Yeah.
for
How
sure. And
far is Enlightened Equipment away from not being cottage though? I wonder. They're in my home state as well.
I mean, like they made it's everything is kind of made in house. It's American made. I will say, like, when I was out on the Colorado Trail this past summer, I started to like pull some of the through hike, and I was like, "Hey, you guys got sleeping bags, you guys got quilts," and nobody said sleeping bags. They all said quilts, and I think almost everybody but one said Enlightened Equipment, which makes me think, yeah, they might be moving forward beyond the cottage realm, possibly, right?
Possibly. Well, they brought quilts to the mainstream,
Oh,
right?
they did for
When you
sure.
when you think of quilts, you usually think of Enlightened Equipment. And there are other manufacturers out there, but I own Enlightened Equipment products. I have their Torrid jacket. I have
Yeah, I do
their
too.
Copperfield wind layers and things like that. So Enlightened Equipment has definitely done an amazing job of getting people out on trail for sure.
All that to say, so we're obviously both customers of Cottage Brands. I'm a customer, even though I'm going to pose some things that maybe I don't like about some of the Cottage Brands out there to kind of address some of the arguments we made. But I just want to kind of clarify where we stand on things. So let's jump in, man. All right, so let's just do this kind of point by point. You kind of just rolled it through because you didn't have a secondary voice in your video. Obviously, you didn't have me yapping back at you. So now you do, and I want to know. So your big arguments for like one at a time. Why should we be buying Cottage Brands, or what's your thought process from the video?
Well, if like I said, Cottage Brands are feeling these gaps, in equipment and things like that. So if it's something that you need, sometimes only the cottage manufacturers are making these things. So sometimes it's the only place you can get them, right? But for me, it's more about keeping these small vendors alive and supporting them appropriately so they can keep innovating. They can keep engineering and they can keep the craftsmanship level up, and that comes down to cottage vendors because a lot of these things are still made by hand in those places, which means it's hard for them to scale.
Okay, so you're saying argument number one is you're going to get handmade high quality goods. Is that correct?
That and customer service. You can call a lot of these places and get the owner on the phone a lot of the time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So I'll push back on the customer service then. So I understand that when you have these cottage brands, we're not talking like Amazon where it's like you're going to get this the next day. It might be a few days, right? And if they're like low on supplies, materials, it might be a few weeks. I get it. I understand that. I expect that. And typically, if I'm ordering an important piece of gear, I'm going to order it pretty far out. But I did. So I bought a Zpacks arc haul this past year. I like the arc haul, but I don't like the customer service. I don't. Maybe you might consider Zpacks not a cottage brand anymore. They're not in any of the big box stores, but the the customer service does not respond very well from my experience. And then in addition to that, they had like a slow delivery time on the product, which is fine, but they gave me like an estimated delivery date when I purchased it, and then they had to push it out. Fine. But they waited a week, so they waited until the product was supposed to arrive to tell me, "Oh, by the way, it's not gonna arrive for another however long." And I was like, "Okay, it's fine if you wanna push it out, but, like, you waited a week to tell me that." That felt I kinda felt violated, I'll be honest.
I know I can understand that, especially if you were counting on having that pack for your next trip that you're ready to load out right in the next week. So that's the thing about cottage vendors. Yes, sometimes though the lead times are the biggest killer for them, right? If you're going to order a custom backpack from Hilltop Packs, I mean, you're looking at 8 weeks, 10 weeks a lot of the times, right?
Right.
But then
But
you
you
are going to
know that, and they're upfront about that, and but what if it's not that? Like, what if it's 20 weeks? Will they tell you? Probably.
Well, that's the big thing. If the lead times increase, it is up to them to communicate that.
Right.
I find that if people are kept in the loop in communication, they're usually okay with it. But if they have
That's my
no
exactly my
idea,
point.
yeah, if they have
Yes.
no idea what's going on, like, and I can't get anybody on the phone, well, that just loses my love and enthusiasm for that brand and that product,
Right.
right? So I think customer service should be a cornerstone of any business, really, but
Right.
especially important for a small brand, right? I mean,
Right.
because their sales are very, I mean, daily are very dependent. They can't afford to necessarily miss a month or
Yeah,
two. Or
and you know what? And I know not maybe they were expecting to get it out, and they're like, "Wait, this is taking longer than we thought." Surprise! Like, I'm fine with that. I think you just got to figure out a way to sweeten the deal. So, if I were them, like whatever company, and I was like, "Ooh, like I said it was going to arrive this date, but it's actually going to be a week out, and I didn't do a good job communicating." That's fine. I'm like, nobody's perfect, but like maybe throw like a Snickers energy bar in the box or something. Like,
yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, as long as it's not hurting their bottom line for the most part. Whether it's a hey, it can be a coupon for your next purchase, or hey, I will throw in an extra trinket here or there. That's fine. But more
yeah, a
importantly,
sticker. How about a sticker?
you know what? A sticker. A
Right.
sticker would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Or just a whole nother free backpack. How about that?
or a two for one,
Yeah,
a
it's fine.
BOGO. Yeah, I don't think I got a sticker. I would take the sticker. So
Right.
anyway,
I was gonna say Z-Packs, are they still considered cottage? I've actually met some of those guys.
I have
Um,
too.
yeah, cool
Yeah,
guys, cool dudes, you know what I mean?
but
Um,
not they're cool, but they're not good about getting back to me. I'll be honest. So
well, they
yeah,
they kinda pioneered this whole ultralight, Dyneema pack
they did.
and there are so many companies, I mean, they're on their heels, they're here, so they better customer service, step it up.
Okay. And speaking of them, I'm gonna blame them for something else later on in our discussion here. But like, even though I'm kind of complaining about their customer service. In the end, I did like the pack, and it didn't put too much of a damper on the situation. So I still recommend the pack. I just like I don't know that I'm excited to go back to their website and keep buying stuff from them. Is all I'm trying to
Right, so
say.
a buyer beware, basically.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
I
put
got you.
stickers in their Z packs or Snickers energy bars. In terms of the quality part, like if you're buying version one of a product, whether it's a big brand or small brand, you just got to expect that things aren't always dialed in. Like that's true for Durston gear, that's true for whatever. So that's just kind of comes with the territory.
Right, unless there's a fatal flaw, right? Then there should be some kind of warranty on that. Some of these cottage brands
Right.
have amazing warranties.
Well, I can tell you that there's multiple backpack companies, cottage brands that it's like you can try it on. If it goes outside, like you cannot return it. And when you're talking about a backpack that you you got to dial that thing in. It may or may not fit. That's tough. Like, yep, you can't do it. And so some of the cottage brands are actually offering you can like pre-buy fit insurance. And so if it just doesn't fit or you change your mind within a certain time frame, then you're allowed to return it, but it's going to cost you like $50.
Right,
So
exactly. Well, and that's the downside about certain things, about things that are only mail order. You can't try them on. Try them on. You can't go to the store and fit a Z-Packs, right? You have to
right.
hope it fits, right? So I think there should be some leeway there. I mean, it is unfortunate, but that's something that's part of the market. You're going to have to adjust for that as a manufacturer, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And then if you are putting out something new and you haven't done any R&D on it, and you want your customers to be your research and development, well, then that's when you need to start sending out to influencers, right? Because if I'm paying $300 for a pack, as an no, not gonna happen.
And that's my thought is like if I was developing a product, I would anybody assuming that it was like a relatively affordable product and I wasn't going to go out of business by sending out too many of these things. I would send that to whoever. So the first time you came on our show, I think you were somewhere in the realm of like 2,000 some odd subscribers on YouTube. And I was like, yeah, like if at 2,000 subscribers, I'd be like, yeah, sure. I'd send Rob something. And now what are you at, like 12, 15,000, something like that?
Yeah, 15, just over
Yeah.
15,
So
yeah.
you never know, like people are going to take off, things are going to happen. And yeah, you kind of invest in on people early. It's not going to work out for everybody, but I think it's just like a very low risk at that point.
Right, I mean, I guess you gotta vet who you're sending stuff to. There are definitely influencers out there influencers, creators out there that, want just free stuff, but that I mean, that's I'm
Wait a
not like that.
second.
If it's
They
something
just
I'm
want
gonna
free
use.
stuff for the sake of having free
Yeah,
stuff and they're not
no.
going to review it, or what do you mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's cool to get free stuff, but for me, if you're gonna send me something, it better be good because I'll rip you apart if it's warranted, And I get so many emails, people wanting to send me the craziest stuff. Like, no, I'm good. Like, unless it's super interesting to me.
The weirdest thing that you've gotten that somebody's made an offer for, like, can you please test out such and such?
Oh, like I got an email for like plywood one time. It's like, wait, what? Like, is it white birch? Like, what are we talking about here? But
Wait, what is there some innovation in the plywood industry
I
that
don't know. It was just like, okay, it's like, oh, we got this blender. It fits perfectly with your YouTube audience. Yeah, you got me. You nailed it.
you nailed it?
Nailed
Yeah.
it.
I'm a construction company YouTuber. All right, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's just strange. And there's a time I should just click yes to every single one of them and just see what shows up.
Yeah.
Um, you
Yeah.
know, but maybe when I'm off the road. I'm on the road right now. I can't have anything sent to me because I don't know where I'm going to be next week.
Where is it getting sent? Do you get stuff like to a PO box or something?
No, because I'm in Utah now, and then next week I'll be in Arizona, and the week after that I'll be. Who knows? So
So you
I
have
am
no
not
home
in one
base.
place. Yeah, I'm always moving. I'm very nomadic.
So you're not even
So
getting there's no if somebody wants to send you junk mail, it's impossible.
I have to plan out well in advance or just tell them, "Hey, I'm home in December." And by
Okay.
that time, it's usually too late. They want a review out for Christmas. Well, I'm not home until just before Christmas. So,
Oh,
um, sorry,
okay.
but it's not gonna work. I mean, I would love it. And plus, where am I gonna put it in my car? My car is so
Yeah.
packed, I can't even fit a goldfish in that thing. Where am I gonna put an extra piece of plywood, you know?
Well, not the plywood, but I mean, I'm sure you're getting smaller stuff too, but that's really interesting. Okay. Yeah, whatever you got it dialed in, man. If you don't have a home address, everything's working for you, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So, all
so
right.
far.
Okay. So you mentioned quality customer service and what else you got?
Well, when it comes to quality, I mean, you are buying something. It's a buy once, cry once mentality for me. I want to buy gear that's going to last and that's warranted, right? The problem with cheap alternatives, things you can get from Amazon, right? Yes, they are cheap, and it's good that it makes getting outdoors accessible. But a lot of those products aren't made very well, and they become disposable products at that point, right? So now we're in this culture where, well, if it breaks, we're not going to fix it. We'll just throw it away and buy another one. That's becoming a huge issue. Like, we can't keep disposing of things on a whim every single time. We need to start fixing things and reusing them as much as possible because Earth, the planet, sustainability, you get it.
I get it. So I think the argument you made was basically that the big corporations figured out that if they make their products more disposable, then they're building in return customers if they like the products for long enough.
Yeah, kind of like
Which,
cars. Yeah.
yeah, cars is like the number one example. So which I agree with. But when you said that, I was like, what you're saying is generally true. But is that true in the backpacking world? Like when I think of Osprey packs, like those are going to last forever. When I think of really any branded sleeping bag, I haven't seen a sleeping bag fail, and I've been camping for decades. So
Well, I mean, I know they sell some like down sleeping bags and things like that on Amazon. Who knows where that down came from? Who knows what
okay.
ducks in a third world country are being, you know,
Right.
being
Third
brand.
world ducks, lower
Yeah,
quality
right.
feathers, right?
But not only that, like in those cheaply made products, I mean, they will fail. I mean, you might get a season or 2 out of them, but is this something I'm gonna be able to still abuse and find? Uh, I highly doubt it.
Yeah. I just think of so like my very first sleeping bag when I was 19 years old, I bought a North Face sleeping bag that was on sale at REI. And at the time, I would say North Face was a pretty big brand, even at the time. And I still have the bag. It's still, it was rated 20 degrees. I would bring it down to 20 degrees right now. It just lasts forever. And so I guess my argument is like, if you're saying that the smaller brands are gonna make good quality, like obviously the handmade quality, you want that stuff. I still think there's good quality in the bigger brands.
Oh, there absolutely is. I mean, there's other companies out there, Patagonia, Arc'teryx, they're very sustainable as well as far as the materials that they use. They make a good product, but those products aren't the cheapest you'll find either. You get a North Face sleeping bag, a 20-degree down sleeping bag, that's going to cost a couple of bucks, right? That's an investment. Whether it's a big company like North Face or just get XYZ brand on Amazon, right? Yeah, it's going to be cheaper, probably 70% cheaper probably, but it's not gonna be the quality that I think you're gonna need in the long run.
Let's talk about your number one argument that I thought this is your like the most interesting thing you said. And the best argument has to do with paying full price for items and what and how we've been conditioned to do otherwise, right?
Yeah, so, sale, 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 40% off, don't miss, Memorial Day is coming, right? You can get the 30% off, don't miss it, right? Deals are fun. Everyone is conditioned to wait for a deal or want a deal, or they feel like if they don't get a deal, then they've been taken advantage of. Um, a lot of the bigger companies, sure, they'll have sales, but a lot of the times, prices are baked in to account for sales. And big companies, and they can absorb some of that, right? When it comes to smaller cottage companies, I mean, they're making products on demand a lot of the time, and having a sale on some of their products is a very, very quick way to shut a small business down. Does that mean if a small cottage manufacturer holds a sale that you shouldn't take advantage of it? No, please do. But if it comes to if you want, a custom made top quilt from UGQ and you want all the specs on it, right? You should be okay paying for it full price instead of just waiting for a sale until it's the right time. It's okay to pay full price to these companies because full price is what's going to support them the most. Because their normal everyday, MSRP is fair price for those products, in my opinion.
I think for the most part you're true. And when you said that, I was like, you're describing how the consumer has been manipulated by, the deal and the sale. I was like, I had this like self-reflective moment. I was like, I think I have. I think because I want the best deal and I don't want to get, I don't want to pay full price for stuff. If there's the potential, I'll say this, if there's the potential that something might go on sale or that I can find a better deal somewhere else, I don't want to suck it up and pay full price.
Right. I mean, and there's other companies out there that have a sale constantly. You ever been to Kohl's? Everything's on sale every
Right,
single
right,
day.
right,
So at that point, is it a sale
right.
anymore
Yeah, for
or is
sure.
that just the price? But it makes me feel better because on my receipt it said $60 and then there was a markdown price that I paid.
Yeah,
But if that's every single day, well then you're just lying to yourself to make yourself feel better that I got a deal, right?
yeah,
Um, is it a deal? Ask yourself that.
yeah. And full disclosure, I did pay full price for a lot of my cottage industry items, and yeah, I didn't feel bad about it, especially when if you like it, then you're like, and it's gonna last forever, then you're like, okay, that was a good investment, and that's fine. But I want to take you behind the scenes of something that this is a theory. I don't have any proof of this, but this is a theory of something that I think happened, led by going back to Zpacks, going back to this brand here. So we talk about like you have to be willing to pay full price because it's a fair price. It's going to help the company. 100% agree. But I think something happened. Some funny business was going on a few years ago. So I reached out to Zpacks. I want to say like 3, 4 years ago. And I said, hey, like your freestanding tent, the duplex is all the rage. I would love to talk about it as part of a podcast episode. Do you have any extras I can try out? And they did get back to me, to their credit, but they're like, yeah, we can't keep these things in stock. And I was like, oh, really? Because you're at the time, you have like the highest popular backpacking tent on the market. And so their price kept on creeping up and up and up during a time. This is like before inflation. And so they just kept on raising their price. All right. So I think they raised their price just based on the supply and demand model, which I get. But here's where it's weird is that around that same time, a lot of the other tents realized people are willing to pay $600 for a tent. And so their $200 tents jumped to 400. The $400 tents jumped to 600 and so on. And this is true for like 5 or 6 of the major brands, including Nemo, including REI, including Big Agnes. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the prices jumped. And my theory, no proof, is that it's because of the demand for the Zpacks tents. What do you think?
I mean, it could have started a small, cosm of that. Maybe, uh, but for them, I can't speak for them, but maybe they were raising prices to help slow the demand, and then that became just the new price. And at that point, well, why don't we just? If people are still willing to pay this, why shouldn't we?
Yeah, no,
And
no. I'm not blaming Zpacks for getting like if they want to list the price at $1,000 and people are paying it, like, yeah, sell it for $1,000. But the unintended consequences, in my opinion, like were the other people were paying attention, right?
hmm, yeah, I mean, if they did pay attention and they did model after that, I would be questioning some ethics there, because at what is the cost per unit on this kind of thing?
Yeah,
What goes into the manufacturing? And obviously there has to be a margin in there for profit.
for sure.
But if you start gouging the customers
That's
because
what
of
happened. That's my
supply and
opinion.
demand, then that's not cool. And
Yeah.
if it's found out that they're actually doing that for that reason, just to capitalize on that profit margin, that's something we should take a look at and then possibly take a stand against as well. Is it
There's
fair
yeah,
price?
without evidence, it's hard to take a stand against it.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's all speculation, right?
It's
But
speculation. I just know what I saw the prices, and I remember thinking REI was like a fair deal at its given price. It was like a tent that's above the Coleman brand, but it's not as good as like the next 2 levels up. And suddenly the prices were competing, and I thought, this is like, who's going to spend this much money on an REI tent? These things do not last as long as the other ones. And anyway, so that's my gripe.
yeah,
That's my
the
complaint.
backpacking gear Illuminati, they all got together and they said, okay, it's time to
Yeah,
hike up some prices,
we
guys.
actually have an episode on that, by the way. We
Nice. I love it. I love it.
so
Yeah, I mean, I'd be very curious on behind the scenes on that. We'll probably never know. I will say if someone watches this and is very, very quick to defend themselves, maybe that's a good place to look.
Oh, like if one of those companies reaches out.
Maybe
We've
thou
had that
do.
happen before,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
mean, was it thou doth protest too much? Something like that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, typically, if you really wanna get a company to reach out to you, just mispronounce your name,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they'll correct you
Yeah,
right away.
and that's a pro tip for, like, engagement on your YouTube videos. Make a mistake on purpose because people love to correct you. Just do it.
They do, they do. Alright. So, I think I hit on all so my main arguments against were, like, questionable return policies. You just gotta be very aware of that. I think a lot of the cottage brands have good customer service, but I wanna make sure they do because I like to reward that. And craftsmanship, I think, can be good on either end. The last thing I wanna say is, like, we talk about how there's good, like, big companies, small companies can have good quality stuff. I will say there's one product when you talk about that you throw away a lot because it's very disposable that I just can't get past. And no matter what the brand is, water filters, I feel like those things wear out stinking fast. And so I feel like I'm just throwing those away every year.
Right,
So,
but they claim 100,000 gallons, right, or
right.
liters, right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I
Incorrect.
love that claim in a perfect condition, sure.
Yeah.
Is there a better water filter solution? At this point, I think the squeeze is as good as it gets.
Okay.
And I mean, unless you wanna spend the time to pre-filter everything, run it through a bandana before you filter to
Yeah.
get all the sediment out, sure, you might be able to prolong that, but it would be nice to know if there was some program, uh, set up to do something with the discarded filters. That'd be interesting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. So you're saying the Sawyer squeeze when you say the squeeze. I think the squeeze definitely lasts the longest. I think my favorite filter is still is way more disposable than that, and that's the Cat and I Be Free.
Yeah,
That's
I
the one that's
used that for years. I loved it because the flow
yeah.
rate is crazy,
Yeah.
right? But the Be Free always gave the water a little bit of a flavor. I mean, I've even cleaned my bladders, I've done
Really?
everything, but the water always had just a tinge of a flavor, not horrible,
Okay.
but I
I
noticed
didn't
that
notice
the
that.
Sawyer squeeze didn't have that.
Okay.
But I was replacing my Be-Free filters a lot more often than I have the Sawyers for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I throw mine away I mean, it's still relatively usable, and if I'm bringing other people with me, I'll give them the backups. But just for my own sanity, that's the one kind of most disposable item I would say in backpacking. So, all right, so wherever we landed, I think that Rob definitely made some really strong cases for not only buying but supporting Cottage Brands and supporting them at list price, especially like the smaller companies, especially, right? If they're making good products and you want to believe in them and you want them to continue to make good products and innovate and make new products, I think that's only fair. So I'm with you on that. I just wanted to kind of nitpick some of the issues I've had over the years, I guess.
Yeah, well, and they're valid, right? Because they're from your real world experience. And
Right.
but if you're experiencing these things and you're nitpicking, you're probably not the only one, right?
I know I'm
Uh,
not the only one with a couple of the brands for sure. For
right,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, for the brands, if you are watching, if your customer service is lacking, well, that's an area you probably should step up.
Yeah.
If your warranty isn't very good, maybe step that up as well. If you want to use people as research and developers, well, reconsider that as well.
Which has happened where people are like, this is like, I don't know, this backpack's delaminating and this is not working, and like things like that. And for version 1 stuff especially. But yeah. Or like my suggestion, just throw some Snickers in the box and you're gonna make people happy. That's
Yeah,
problem
exactly.
solved.
Throw some stickers in the box. Call it
Yeah.
and some stickers. Yeah, call
Yeah.
it good.
And stickers.
Yeah.
Snickers and stickers. There you go.
Yeah. Energy stickers.
All right. So Robert, man, thanks for sharing. Okay, I'm going to put you through the lightning round. I think this is new for you. So we got that coming up next. You know that feeling when you're out on the trail and something goes sideways, a strap breaks, gear jams up, and you realize you can handle it. That's capability, and that's what Case Knives are all about. Case has been building knives the right way for over 100 years, right out of Bradford, Pennsylvania, and they've literally made history. These knives have been to the moon, helped win wars, and spent plenty of weekends in the backcountry. When you carry a Case knife, you're carrying more than a blade. You're carrying confidence, that I got this mindset that turns obstacles into stepping stones. And hey, a Case knife makes a perfect gift for the handy person or adventurer in your life. So make this season a cut above the rest. Unwrap a classic and give the gift of capability with Case Knives. Find your perfect knife at caseknives.com. All right, the lightning round is brought to you by Magnet Designs. Get the best quality gear that exploits nobody. Through Hiker Design, tested, built, and owned, everything they sell has been tested, tweaked, and punished on long trails all over the world. Get the best products with the smallest environmental footprint by Googling Magnet Designs. Actually, it's funny, you just mentioned the R&D stuff. Like, so Magnet's the guy's trail name, and he's literally a thru hiker, and he's bringing his stuff out on the trail. So he's doing his own R&D. He's as legit as it comes in terms of like backpacking to backpacking gear.
Love it. Love it. I
Yeah.
could use some of that gear because, I wear the same clothes multiple days in a row by necessity.
Yeah, we're gonna have a review for one of his sun hoodies here coming up soon. All right, so the lightning round, you have 1 minute to answer as many questions as you can, and like average amount is like 7 or 8. So see if you can beat that. I think the most you've had this season is 10.
All right.
Are you ready?
Let's roll.
Okay, timer starts right after I ask the first question. A type of food that you hate.
Pickles.
Ooh, the worst smell.
Stingray. Look it up.
Okay. What do you think makes crop circles?
Aliens, of course.
Of course. Biggest complaint about grocery stores.
Too many reusable bags.
Biggest outdoor fear.
Biggest outdoor fear. Getting a foodborne illness from ticks and being allergic to meat.
Wow. Least favorite backpacking brand.
Oh, wow. Least favorite backpacking brand. Man, there's so many out there.
I'm stumping you.
Would smart water bottles be an outdoor?
Sure. Yeah.
Smart
the
water.
last nightmare you can remember.
I don't have nightmares. Not being able to find my way out of a room. I actually got claustrophobic and I woke up in the middle of the night freaking out.
And time. All right. That was an awesome ending right there. I love that. Okay. What'd you get? 3, 4, 5, 6. You got 7, man. All right.
Hey, right
So
on.
right
I
in the
remember that dream though. I had to unzip the zippers of my rooftop tent, and my girlfriend was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I gotta get outside." Like I was in a room, but the room was this big.
yeah.
Like I just woke up in a panic, dude.
So
Thanks
you're
for
like
bringing me back there.
suddenly claustrophobic, seemingly for no reason. You're saying.
No reason. Yeah,
Okay.
spontaneous claustrophobia. It's a is it?
Okay. Now, are you thinking the aliens are like landing on the crops or like shooting down some sort of like lasers to make the designs? What's your thought process there?
I want to think maybe it's a propulsion pattern. Like they come down and they hover, and then whatever propulsion pattern, energy pattern they have, that's what happens. I don't think they're necessarily landing.
Then they happen to make some like unique artistic designs.
Yeah, they just happen to be extremely geometric, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Some of those designs are crazy, but okay.
Right?
So in Colorado, they don't, when you kind of bag your goods, they don't give you free plastic bags and you can't even pay for them. You can pay for paper bags, but we don't have plastic bags. Are states still doing the plastic bag thing?
Oh, in Minneapolis, they charge you 10 cents per bag, and I actually misphrased that. It should have been single use bags. But everywhere we've traveled, those plastic bags are still being given away by the tons. Like you could go to Louisiana right now, and if you don't get a bag, they think you're weird.
So you buy one product you can carry out in your hand. There's like, just take the bag.
You're like, "Can I just get a case of bags?" And they'll just give you a case of bags.
Wow.
Yeah, so just get the reusable bags, use them
Yeah.
because those plastic bags, they are a nightmare.
Yeah, they fly around I'll be honest, man. So we would have them like, in the wintertime, it'd get gusty and windy, and then, the leaves are all gone on our scrub oak in our area. And so you see kind of these plastic bags flying around and kind of just landing in the scrub oak. And people would like kindly, when, springtime rolled around, they'd go clean up a lot of the bags and stuff. But ever since we went away from that, like I don't see that anymore.
Yeah, see, that's perfect, and they tangle up like recycling machinery and, I mean, they still have their uses since we live and work out of our car. We still use them as garbage bags, but those always get thrown away. They don't just get left out, right? So, I think everyone right now probably has like 100 of those bags somewhere in their house, still
Yeah,
somewhere.
well, we don't because it's been a few years now since without them. So,
There you
if
go.
to be honest, if we want them, you got to buy them on Amazon. Like you
Oh, well,
can't get
that's good.
them.
I think everyone should follow suit. I think if people stopped offering them, then we'd start seeing less of them. Yeah. Congrats, Colorado.
Yeah, please subscribe for wisdom like that. If you can't get them, they'll go away. Last thing, tidbits. We want to know, what do you have coming up on your YouTube channel?
Well, what's amazing about my YouTube channel lately, it's been kind of blowing up lately for no reason because I haven't really done
You're
anything
awesome,
different.
man. Not for no reason. Come
No,
on.
I know, I appreciate that. Some of my older videos are starting to like really come on strong, but I'm starting to document a lot more stuff on the road about my life and the nomadic living that we're doing, and still, sharing the trips that we take, when we're backpacking up in the mountains. Less gear reviews because I just can't get the gear to me to review them. I do have some stuff that I need to revisit, but for the most part, I'm thinking about doing a like a daily or every other day, vlog about road life because we get into some crazy situations that some people may find interesting. So let me know. Would you like a daily vlog?
Can you reveal one of these crazy situations?
Well, I mean, last year we were dispersed camping up in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I woke up at 5 in the morning to some noise coming from under the car. Now we sleep in a rooftop tent. So I poke my head out and I hear like a tapping, scratching sound coming from under the car.
Yeah.
So I had to get down, and Janelle's like, "Yeah, you go check." Right. So I get down, and it's about 5 a.m. It's just starting to get light out, and now I'm trying to look under my car.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? I look under there. There's a porcupine having
Oh.
breakfast on our brake lines. And I'm like,
Oh.
"Dude, what are you doing?" And he stops and he just turns and looks at me like, "Oh, hey man, what's up?" So I go around and it turns out there's two of them, and then they
Okay.
just waddle into the woods, and I look under the car, brake fluid just dripping. So
Ah.
we had to call a tow truck in the middle of nowhere
Yeah.
to get us off this mountain. So watch your
That's it.
brake lines. That was
Yeah.
crazy. That was wild.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know that near Mineral King, which is like part of Sequoia National Park, it's like this separate kind of branch. If you go up this like long, it's like 20-mile dirt road to the trailhead, you have to bring some sort of like plywood boards. Maybe that's where your sponsor comes in handy there. And you got to board off around your car so that marmots don't do that same thing.
Yeah, they'll go after your brakes, your radiator hoses. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, the
chicken
radiator too.
wire, plywood. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So maybe getting a sponsor by that company might work out after all. Just saying.
Well, there's where the plywood comes in handy, Carl.
Correct. Okay. All right. So we're gonna hear crazy stories like that coming up on Rob's YouTube channel. We'll have that linked in the show description. Rob, man, always an honor, pleasure to hang out. Thanks for joining the show and for co-hosting.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I really dig hanging out with you. And then, be sure, like I always say, get outside, everyone, find your own adventure, enjoy this big, beautiful world. I mean, right? They don't make any more of this. There's no substitute for this.
And remember, introverted cottage workers in the coal industry always mind their own business. Have a great week and God bless.